guys, it is your big gay trucker, Bobby Coffee Loy, and today's show is just something that I kind of like was just thinking about, and the fact that I just lost my mom, and women's history has and women in general in my life has always been a amazing influence for me. Growing up, I primarily was raised by women, and then and just I've always had such influential women in my life, people that didn't see a box or didn't see just like something that's always wrapped up with a cute little bow, and life was never, they always worked so hard. The women in my life, my grandmother, my mother, my sister, everybody that I've been around, always worked so hard in life to accomplish things. And so why not have a show on Women's History Month that would incorporate the people that I think is just a good influence in my life? There's AAWTA, there is Real Women in Trucking, there's all these different organizations that I follow and others follow, and people that just inspire me, has always inspired me. So today we are going to have Nicole coming in, and then we're going to have Melissa Rickman, which is Melissa Denton now, and then we have Mona, and we have Large March, and then we have Jasmine St. James, which is so this
I'm
is
not
our
in
crew.
phase. I'm not in phase. I'm sorry.
It's okay, and we may have the bombs later, but they're on the road right now, so they may be if they pop up, I will pop their camera in so everybody can be there. But all of you make up something that just has always inspired me in my whole entire life. And whether it's being a drag queen or being a cisgender woman, lesbian, straight, gay, it doesn't matter. But women are such an empowering force in today's world, and so many people in the trucking industry has underestimated women and made it, I feel, always be so much harder to be here. So I guess we'll go around, and I'm going to go ahead and start with Nicole and let her introduce herself and give a short history of who she is and where she's from, and we'll go from there.
Bobby, I'm so happy that you reiterated the word short because I am very long winded. That's the truth. Hello, everyone. I am Nicole Nikki Ward. Okay, my friends call me Nikki, and we're friends, so we'll call each other Nikki. I'm the president and co founder of ATA. Super excited to be here. We focus on diversity and inclusion in the trucking transportation space. I started out as a dispatcher, went into becoming a carrier, employed my mom as my first driver, hit the road with her. We became a broker, and kind of that's how I end up in trucking. I mean, I had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, saw a lot of things that didn't feel right and should feel right in 2024. And with that being said, I was able to kind of band together with my family members, with a group of women that were dedicated to this industry, and Auto was born. And so we're excited about that. We have 7,000 members. Kudos to some of the women that you named. Bobby, sorry about the loss of your mother. So thank you so much for bringing us in this platform, women that you feel are powerful. And the Real Women in Trucking, Desiree, love her. Definitely feel the same way about her, and amongst a lot of the other women in the
Right.
associations. Kudos to you as well.
Yeah, it's all about inspiring each other, and I feel that and that's kind of something we're going to talk about that I've had some issues with. But it's like together we can make a difference, but attacking each other doesn't really do anything, and we're just bringing each other down and then getting more hate within. And we do that all the time, even within LGBTQ. It just doesn't, it goes on and on. So attacking each other doesn't help. But bringing clarity is fine. When things are happening, bringing clarity, bringing things to the table and talking about it is great, because that's how you make a difference and band together for the future.
That's right.
I'm going to move over to Mona, because Mona is just become a friend of mine, and we kind of have like I absolutely love her. I love what she's doing, and her show is infectious and fun, and I just enjoy it. So I'm gonna let you introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mona Watts from Ashtabula, Ohio, way up in the northeast corner of Ohio, hanging on to Pennsylvania barely. So right on Lake Erie, born and raised here. And I am excited to be here. I started a podcast 3 years ago called Lots of Tea. When we first started out, it was just a podcast with me interviewing other queens and things like that. And then I took a year off because my work schedule got crazy. And in 2022, in November, I decided I wanted to bring it back, and but I wanted to do something a little different, and that was to reach out to people that are hurting and have gone through things similar to myself, with being a gay man in a church and believing that I'm a Christian and that God doesn't hate me, that He loves me just like He loves everyone else, and I wanted to spread that word and that message and reach out to those people that have dealt with trauma. And of course, one of your other guests is my co-hostess, Large Marge, and we just celebrated a year of shows, bringing the news out to people. We've had so many topics. I can't even name them all. Just with traumatic experiences that people have gone through that have changed their lives, and now they're coping and going on the uprise of healing and overcoming those traumas, like with narcissistic relationships and being transgender, things like that,
Right.
hurt by other people. So I'm glad to be here.
So
I'm
we're
glad to be here. I'm not
have
going to speak
you.
for Marge. She may not be. But,
Yeah, and then I'll go ahead and we'll go over to Large Marge for a minute. Let Large Marge talk for a second.
Hi, I'm Large Marge. I am from Ashtabula County, Ohio. I'm the co-host on Lots of Tea with Miss Mona, and in my day job, I'm a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Ohio. I have specialization in trauma therapy. I'm EMDR certified, which is one of the leading trauma therapies in the world right now. And I am an AFAB drag queen, an LGBTQ plus ally, and I just am so excited to be here tonight.
Thank you so much.
AFAB queen on my show. Like, she just kept dressing up and getting more fabulous. So we're naming her.
I upgraded my hat for you.
That's right.
That's awesome. And then we have Melissa Denton, which used to be Melissa Rickman. She's one of our board members and someone that's just been a great friend to us for a very long time now. So if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Melissa Denton, and I recently got married. But I am off the road. I used to be on OTR. I used to be a certified CDL instructor. I started my CDL career. I call it late in life. Once my last kid graduated high school, got on the road with my then husband, and I fell in love with the lifestyle. I fell in love with the trucking industry. And while he didn't like it and we ended in divorce, and this was like 5 years ago, I maintained and stayed on until about a year and a half ago, and always had it in the back of my head, I'll go back. And now I'm driving a school bus for the local school district and loving it. So I still feel like I'm an advocate for women on the road, or as I like to say, old ladies in semis. And I'm still writing that third book. I've got 2 books that are published, and it's all based and inspired by my time on the road and the people I've met on the road. And so I'm really having fun with that. And even though I'm not on the road per se, my husband and I just bought a school bus that's already gutted, and we're going to convert it into an RV. So I will be back on the road when school's not in. And I got the absolute best schedule in the world, because when the kids are out, I'm out. And so I will be on the road, just not in a 75-foot vehicle that I can pull over a school bus anywhere to take pictures, where I couldn't on the road in a big semi.
Right.
But I still I'm honored to be on this podcast. And of course, I love you, Bobby, and I love Jess, and I love everybody that's part of the organization. And I'm just glad to be a part of such a good group. And it's such a good group for everybody. It really doesn't matter what your orientation is. It don't matter what your color is. It don't matter if you're married. It don't matter if you're single. I just love the fact that it's about love. And, the trucking industry it's a really tough industry, and you have to have thick skin. It don't matter, it don't matter if you're a man or woman. It don't matter if you started a man or started a woman or ended up something else. It's tough across the board. And so when you have women in the industry or trans in the industry, there's so much there that's tough, because Well, frankly, look, it's the trucking industry. You're supposed to be big, bad, and you have the stereotypical, you have to be a guy and wear Wranglers and fingerless gloves and be super truckers. We're not that.
Right.
And at the end of the day, our goal in this industry is to get product from point A to point B. That's it. Everything's on the shelf is because of us truckers. And
That's right.
so, it shouldn't matter what you do behind your closed curtains in your truck. It shouldn't matter who you travel with. None of that should matter. And we just went on a short camping trip, my husband and I, and something came on the radio and it just kind of stuck in me. You know how sometimes you hear something and you're like, what, that's not right. So they just brought up about the trucking industry. And of course, my ears perk up because it's the industry. And they were talking about women in the industry. They said 15%, which I think that number sounds high to me because I've always thought it was around, 8 or 9, maybe 10%. And then they said, well, they're trying to, they're trying to make it good for women, but how are they going to get all that product there when they got to stop every 15 minutes to pee? And I thought, okay, maybe I have a bladder that's small, but I get my product there. And so, and so it's a stigma that's out there, and so, this industry needs a good woman in it, and I always feel like women are better at, number one, listening, and nothing against the men, but we don't say, here, hold my beer. I mean, if you look at statistics driving wise, we don't have the road rage. Well, I'll take that back. My daughter has the road rage. It's a good thing she's not a trucker. But, I think that, any industry, I mean, women, we are meant to do this, but sometimes it is a little bit harder, but we make it work. And so it's good to be part of like this organization here and everybody that's part of this panel today. I mean, shaking your head, yeah, you know how it is. This industry is hard, but I'm glad that we're part of it. And I'm super glad, even if I never go back on the road and drive a semi over the road, I'm still honored to be a part of this group. And I'm still advocate for women getting into the industry, young, old, let your kids, get out of high school, take off, live your dream. Single mothers is the hardest one for me to wrap my head around how hard that is. I got several friends that are single moms, and the amount of village that they need to help support them while they're out there with their children, it just amazes me, but it is a hard industry, but I'm in love with it and I always be in love with it. It just hit me late in life. I didn't start till I was 45, and I'm glad to be here. So
I definitely feel that it's something that no matter male, female, how you identify, getting into the industry is something that really helps you grow as a person. There is so many obstacles, and then you also will end up doing things that you never thought you would be able to do or accomplish. So I think it's very important, and it teaches you a lot. And then we have, last but not least, we have Jasmine. So you would like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. I'm my legal name is Brazen Jewel Parker. I recently changed it last year. I finally came out and told my truth of 42 years of me coming out as a transgendered woman. I've been on hormones for a year and about 4 months now. My body is starting to get ready for me to wear a bra, but my mind is not. So these are getting huge. My drag performance name is Jasmine St. James. Sorry, I look a hot mess. I just got back from Orlando last night. Fell in love with it. Want to go back real soon. I've been out doing yard work today, getting the trimmed,
Don't know what that was.
car detailed and brakes changed on my car. So I'm not a truck driver, but I do respect the job that the truck drivers do. And it's just like, what was her name? Melissa. It's just like Melissa said. If it's, when you go to the store, if it's not on the shelf, or if it is on the shelf, trucker brought it. Got to be respectful.
Right.
And then Bobby is my drag sister, and also one of my bestie sisters. And I used to belong to the organization. I used to hold a title. I was a transgender advisor for the group. I recently resigned from that post because there was a lot of stuff that I had to do for myself and reflect on some things. But I'm looking forward to getting with Bobby and getting back and holding that position again.
You know, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't think of is when you do put, like me and my husband, we've been on the road, we've been doing this for going on 8 years, and during the time, you know, I've been in pretty much every magazine you could think of, and I've had people chasing me down the highway pretty much trying to find me to slash my tires, or they were going to kill me in the middle of the night and try to find where my truck was, and just because I was in a magazine with my husband. It's very simple. Wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just talking about the fact that, you know, I'm LGBTQ and representing people that doesn't really get to be seen very often, you know. But at the same time, my dad was a driver. Ricky's dad was a driver. I was around it my whole life. It's something that I'm just accustomed to. At the end of the day, who I go behind the curtain with shouldn't really matter. You know,
Baby, pre-trip.
Yeah, that's like what you hear me if you're on the phone with me at nighttime. I'm like, baby, pre-trip, because we're doing the pre-trip and switching over, and being a driver is one thing, but then being a team is a complete other demon in itself. And I say it that way because, like, you are continuously moving. You think about 1,200-1,400 miles a day, and then you're trying to sleep back there while the other person's driving. Your butt is like levitating off the bed. It's just, you know, it's so much fun. Like, and then you try to stick a regular relationship in the middle of all that, and it's hard. There's a lot of obstacles. But the one thing, you know, I was going to talk about, Melissa brought up about the statistics. So I find it funny. For the longest time, they always thought that, or they've always said that women were safer drivers than men. So when I pulled this statistic today, this is what it said. It actually says that women get the job done more. And this was they implied, and they said that women actually are 58% will actually be in an accident, and men is actually not as likely to be in an accident. It's actually changed in the last like 6 years, which I thought was really weird. However, they compared this to the statistics of drivers behind the wheel also of semi-trucks, and when they did, they said that men, it was like the weirdest thing. It was like, so like they also compared it to suicide rate, and we talk about that a lot. So like I don't know why they compared the accident rate to the suicide rate. It made no sense to me. But they said that in women are less likely to succeed at suicide by 12%, and men are more likely to succeed because they're more abrupt and rough when they do it, on how they do it. They usually choose a gun, and so I thought that was really weird. I was like, why is this coming up? But it all came up with the statistics for truckers, and so I just thought it was kind of a very interesting point when you brought it up in your intro.
Well, I'm sorry, but they really need to redo their statistics. I can't even talk. Whatever that word is, they really need to redo that word, because every accident that I have seen, it has been involved with a man.
I'll agree with that.
So it is true that
or a
men
Swift driver
choose more lethal means if they try to commit suicide. It's less frequent that a man will attempt it, but it is more common that it will be more lethal if a man attempts suicide. Women have more attempts with lower lethal means. Right. It makes sense as to kind of why, like, they're comparing that with the women have more accidents, men are getting the job done. Is that what you were saying they're comparing that to?
Yeah, that's actually what they said in the statistics. They said that men get the job done, and that they are more, and it was in quotations even. It even said in the article, it said that they were actually more successful. I don't know if successful would have been the word I would have used, but I was just like, I thought that was odd. So I was just looking up statistics today, and I thought it was just kind of one of those things. And
I am that 58% of the accidents. That's all me. All me.
Well, I can say I have not heard that statistic. Look, there I go. Or that word again, right? I have not heard the statistic. But what I can say is I have stood by the one that I did know with women being safer drivers, only being with the fact that we've seen a lot of the mega carriers now, primarily interested in diversity and inclusion, right? And trying to jump on that bandwagon, which we appreciate. We don't want them to stop opening the doors for inclusivity, but I'm saying I see that they've been holding on to that as well. So when I see some of the carriers that come to ATA, they say, we want to open the doors to more women. We have, a 2% rate of women, and the 2% that we do have here tend to be a little bit more methodical, and we haven't seen any accidents. So it's possibly on the road. Car, I'm flipping everybody. Don't drive next to me.
I'll have everyone know there are no statistics of drag queens having accidents. Okay.
There you go.
We didn't make it. We're all safe drivers.
So
That's not true, Mona. I've had several accidents, but they've never been my fault.
That's because I was probably on the road next to you.
Yeah, right.
Basically, we all should drive together. I got it.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, carpool would be the answer. Okay, but so one of the things that I feel is very, very important to talk about is the fact that in trucking right now we have, and I'm not stepping on toes of any organization when I say this, but if you've been around any of the trucking industry in the last show that just happened and everything, I absolutely love so many people. Desiree is one of my people that just completely inspires me with all the stuff that she does and the lobbying she does and the things she does for change. And it isn't just for women; she does it for everyone, every driver. She doesn't pick or choose. Like, it's just for everybody. And she gets a lot of flack for stuff. And maybe it's because of her approach, but you know what? Her approach works, and she's been working and doing that forever. And I give her kudos for it completely. She's just an amazing woman. I've had the honor of meeting her and being in her presence and meeting her organization. However, I want to talk about something that I feel I don't really know if it does good for anyone. My thing is, after this last show, there was all this hoopla and all this different online bashing and people bashing each other's organizations and people say, and this women's organization stealing this from that one. And I understand all of that completely from an organization standpoint. I started our organization. I started with another organization. Me and Shelly are friends. Shelly is founder of LGBTQ, LGBT Truckers, and we are still friends. A lot of people think that we hate each other, and we do not. She calls me. She needs something. I help her. And if I need something, she will help me. I don't bash her. I don't bash what she does. Our visions are different, if that makes sense. And, but I want your guys' input, and I understand if some people feel uncomfortable to talk about it, but I want your input a little bit on, I feel that a woman's organization attacking another woman's organization does nothing for the women involved.
It don't.
It puts everybody in a horrible situation. And the amount of money that people spend suing another organization and doing all these different things to try to, I just want people to, do better. Don't take the time to sue somebody. Do better and make them wish that they were you and they were your organization. Don't, I don't understand. Like, it was very bad. Like, a lot of my friends that went to the trucking show felt very uncomfortable with organizations going after each other and going after each other online. So I kind of want to know your guys' input. How do you feel when and especially for AAWTA, like I kind of want to know, how do you guys stay out of that loop? What is your vision on that part? Like, how do you stay out of it so that you're not in situations like that? Because we had a lot of people attacking each other, and I just feel it needs to be talked about. Because in order for women to get rights and things to happen, we can't attack each other and tear each other down.
Bobby, thank you for asking this question. I think you might have been the first person who's asked that question of Ada publicly. So we're the new kids on the block, and I say the new kids on the block because we have a board of young, I would say, young truckers that are in this industry, and they, I'm so happy the industry didn't count us out because we're babies in this industry. I mean, but we came out with a bang. We're one of the 16 that were sitting on the FMCSA board. They made me personally chairman the Women Advisory Trucking or Women Trucking Advisory Board for the FMCSA in November of last year, which was an absolute honor. I sat on that board with a number of women that were second and third generational truckers, second and third, sitting on the boards of associations, and I couldn't understand a lot of the back and forth. And the only thing I could understand is the big picture of helping our people. So I get a lot of back and forth too. Why the name ATA? Why African American Women Trucking Association? Is that creating more division? And my answer is absolutely not. And let me explain why. We chose to focus on one demographic, but we partner because we believe there's strength in numbers with other associations just like this. So when I hear about, when you ask, how do we stay at the hoopla? Because we're everybody's friend. I'm a first generation American. I love the terms that we throw out now because God, I'm old. I'm 40 years old. I don't know. I just loved all the people because if it was a green alien, I promise I'd date them guys. So, so I guess I'm bisexual, right? So we'll go with that. There was a lot of challenges that I faced being a Black, first generation American in the trucking industry. I felt a lot of attack when I first got into this industry. And then I heard there were so many other people that felt the same way and ran. So I'm like,
Right.
no. We don't ran. We don't run. We band together and we fight. And trust me, we're going to win this thing. We're going to come out on top. And people were telling me I was crazy for doing it. But then I started to spread the word, spread the awareness, go into other associations saying, hey, guys, some of your people that look just like me, some of your people that don't look like me, that don't look like you, all of us, we need to start a thing. We need to start a thing. And so that's kind of how I've stayed out of the drama. I'm friends with everybody. I don't have a problem with any association. I will be on any one of their platforms. And as long as we're on one accord and the mission that they're screaming, I agree with, I'm right behind them.
Right. No, I mean, I just wanted to talk about it because, one of the things I always do is I talk about subjects that other people are usually not comfortable talking about. I mean, my very first time talking to Melissa and doing her interview, I literally asked her if trucking was the reason she had a divorce. And then people messaged me afterwards and they were like, did you really just ask her that? I mean, but it's valid. It's one of those things that you want to, you do it because it's just one of those things to talk about. But I just feel like tearing each other down and ripping each other apart doesn't help anything. And we need to build each other up because there's too many people waiting, and I remember, and I don't know if I'm sure you did hear some of this too, but I remember, Nicole, whenever you got your position, and there was a lot of people that was not happy because they didn't feel you was here long enough to be in the position, and posted about it online and got upset about it, and
you know what they call those
FMCSA about it?
Right, they did. They went to them about it. But the thing is, like, when that happens, you have to move forward. You have to be glad someone's in there speaking for you, and instead of tearing each other apart. But I do feel that in the LGBTQ, I feel that we do that a lot to begin with, just within the circle. And then and I hate it. Now I don't mind when someone is just pointing out the truth on
Right.
something. Pointing out the truth is fine, and talking about things relevantly and openly. That's, I mean, I'd love to have. I don't know what would happen. My show might like crash and burn, but I'd love to have all the women's associations together in one show. I don't think it would ever happen, but I think it would be amazing to do it. Just because there is that separation that's always been there. Now, I've had every one of them on the show
Just separate.
individually,
Mhm.
but I've never been able to have them all together because there's just that separation. And that sadly, this is Women's History Month, and in order for women to gain more rights and more things that's been stripped away from us already, I feel that you got to band together.
Mhm.
Yeah. Strength in
So,
numbers.
like, this is just an open question anybody can answer. So, in your time of being here on Earth or Mars or wherever we're at, but wherever, of being here and your experience of living, what do you think has been the biggest upset for women and women's rights? And then also, what do you think has been the biggest? Well, we'll start with the upset first. Like the upset or the thing that we've lost the most, that's been the worst in your lifespan that you've seen so far.
For me, I think the largest upset was that I have seen is women not getting the respect and the recognition that they believe or that they are owed and they are due. That's my thing. The men want to put women back in the kitchen, pregnant, barefoot, and wearing aprons. And you can't survive like that. You've got to move forward. You got to let all that 50s and 60s and all that bullshit, let it go.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what I've seen. It's just like men has been trying to put women back in the closet and back in the kitchen.
I'll go with that too on that. It's like we have so much movement in our country where we're moving forward, we're progressing, we're getting women's rights, we're getting equality to skin color, to sexual orientation, to what have you, but we still have the white man, straight man privilege mentality throughout our country, and it starts setting us back again. And I think that is the hardest thing. It's like, what's next? What are we taking away next? What are we trying to suppress next? We've already come out of Egypt. Let's not go back into it. It's frustrating. I think all around for women, for Black people, for gay people, it's frustrating. And it's like we constantly have to fight. I'm done fighting. I'm too old to fight. I don't want to fight anymore. I just want to enjoy my life. I fought enough. And we didn't even fight like they did in the 70s,
Right.
It's crazy.
It's like even, there was a lot of people, I remember when, for me, when gay marriage became legal,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't realize that it was still illegal for, in some states, for African American culture to marry
A white person.
like and mix.
Yeah.
And that bill also, another part of that bill was actually the fact that you could have interracial marriages.
Yeah.
And made it legal, and like, even though it had been happening in multiple states, it literally really wasn't legal yet, completely. And I didn't know that. Like I was like, what? And then a lot of people did, and then I started like get on the bandwagon about it because, and that's just been me from the beginning in trucking. I kept seeing people that just didn't have.
Because it's so outrageous. It's so outrageous. That's why people didn't know. It's such an asinine thing that you can't let. You can't mix race. Right. You can't. Who you want to love. It's absolutely ridiculous that that's what our country's go. You can't love who you love.
In the state of Ohio, you can marry anyone except your brother.
Yeah.
Any one of your family members except like your brother or sister.
Yeah.
You can marry a goat in Kentucky.
Well, I moved
Really?
to Ohio because some of my cousins are very, very cute.
So why the hell are these other states? That's what I don't understand. Like, how are these other states so we're far behind with the law that you can marry any one of your relatives, but how are these other states so far behind that they're saying you can't marry whoever the hell you choose?
Right.
you know, and I hear how that's frustrating. And to, you know, to answer your question as far as the setbacks go, um, I remember vividly the day they pulled Roe versus Wade,
Yeah.
and having to have that conversation with my family, who's all men, and they didn't quite get on what level that affected me on. I'm 40 years old. I've had a hysterectomy, so it doesn't exactly affect me in the present day or at that time, but it still affected me in such an in just unexplainable way. Like, I can't even give words to the way my body felt, the way my heart sank, the fear that came over me for people, for other women and people in the country, um, who literally had a just one of their rights just stripped from them,
Stripped from them.
you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And that was a big, scary, very scary moment, you know?
But like Large Marge and Mona, we had talked about something about this when I was on your show, and I feel it's just like, you know, me moving back to Florida. I have gotten so much backlash because everybody's like, "Why are you moving back to Florida?" I'm moving back so I can fight with everybody else. I'm not running away. You
Mhm.
know, the answer is not to run away from things. It is run towards it and stand
right.
up. And because that's the only
The
way.
answer
But-
is strength in numbers.
Right.
Yes.
and but I feel like today's generation, and I'm not blaming them, but like there is a lot of times that I feel that people say, and I'll take us one specific person. There's a person that literally had said to me, "Well, that's not going to happen, and that's not going to pass." You know, this whole the bathroom bills and not using the bathroom. That's not going to happen. That's not going to pass. You know, it's not going to happen to me, and I'm a transgender woman.
It's my show now.
Did you
It
freeze?
is,
I think he froze. Oh,
You
Uh,
froze. You're back.
don't know what happened. That was weird.
yeah.
But yeah,
But,
you're right. It's like it seems like the government is wanting to tell us how to raise our children. We can't whip them. We can't punish them. We can't only put them in timeout. I'm sorry. I'm old school. I'm gonna tear that ass up.
Right, because that's why we're in the predicaments we're in a lot of places in America right now.
It
Well,
makes
what's
you a great
unfortunate is
human
that there's a
being.
lot
So
of
I
people.
get you, Jesse.
There's a lot of
Do,
people
But I
out there
just-
tearing that ass up, and it's our government that's not doing anything about it either. On the flip
Exactly.
side of that,
Correct.
you know, you've got a lot of kids out there that are being abused, and there's no
Yes.
response from the community agencies that need to be responding.
Right.
And
But I feel
all
like
of the
there's
kids that are in the foster system.
there's a difference, though. I feel
Right.
then there's a difference between abuse and correction.
Discipline. Absolutely.
One whack on the butt.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel there's a difference. You know, I mean, it was intimidating as a child, and yes, I got my grandma would be like, "Hey, you pick the switch or you pick the the cutting board in the kitchen. Which one do you want?" You know, and I had to go pick my switch from the tree, and if it was too small, then I got the cutting board. So, you know,
Or-
I remember my friends and I grew up though going, "Oh my God, if I yell at my kid the wrong way, are they going to call CPS on us?"
Right.
right.
Or,
I
you know what I
tried that.
mean? It was
Yeah,
a
I tried that with
total
my dad,
flip
and my
of
dad says,
dynamic.
"Yeah, I tried that with my dad, and my dad says, do it. Go ahead and call him." He said, "I'm gonna whoop your ass when they get here, and I'm gonna whoop your ass when they try to take me to jail."
Right. They
Shut
have
up.
to leave. I would know. So I have a
But I just
23-year-old son.
and that's horrible that as a mother, women as a mom has to worry about how you correct your child that
Right.
CPS or they're going to be taking away. It's sad that that is a thing that you have to think about.
It's very sad, and all of these politicians that is now, and I'm, what everybody's stance is, but we listen and we put them in this place, and now all of these silver spoon mouth fed people are trying to tell the whole world what to do with their children.
That's
I was
right.
at GameStop the other
Right.
day, and this kid was just running amok and yelling and screaming and hollering and crying. And the mother literally looked at this kid and says, "If you do not stop and get over here, you're not getting it." I'd have went to jail. If that was my kid, I'd have went to jail.
If it was my mom, I would already be in heaven.
I may have went to jail even if it wasn't my kid.
My mom never would have let me in the store in the first place. It's okay.
Yeah, we're leaving right now.
Would have made me
That's
No,
sick.
I mean, my mom would have just looked at me. There was a look, and I got it, and then
So,
yeah,
I mean,
I knew
it's
better.
just- it's horrible. Horrible.
So, like, let's talk about the accomplishments. So, what do you guys think is the best accomplishments that's happened in your lifetime within women's rights and women's history that you've seen? And it could be trucking or non-trucking related.
Excuse me.
For me, for trucking, to see ADA in the position that it's in, we are bringing a lot of awareness. Our goal is to see, support, empower, and advocate. So to hear people being more accepting of what we're doing, and now wanting to be more more collaborative with our association is extremely amazing. I think this month alone, there's been about 4 other associations that we all know about, that I appreciate them approaching ADA. The Mid America Trucking Show, I think, was amazing for us in collaboration, and just to see that, for them to hear at my own mouth as a president that I'm not in competition with any single one of you guys. I actually want to be solution based, and big on strength in numbers. I'm going to keep screaming it from the rooftop. How do we collaborate? How do we fix the problem?
Right. And that's something that is needed in trucking, is fixing some problems that we do have. And there's a lot of little issues, but I mean, there's a lot of issues in the world, but it does take us all banding together. And no matter what organization you're with, no matter who you're representing, it takes us talking about those things, opening the lines of discussion to do so, and acting like adults, and and doing that. So, and I'm not mad at anyone. I want to make sure that's clear. Talking about Desiree, I'm not talking bad about her because Desiree is someone that I literally looked up to so much, and I still to this day do. There are so many things that she has taught me along the way and has helped me with, and on how to reach others, how to get our platform out there. And because it's very hard, the moment you mention LGBTQ, I can't tell you how many people hang up on you, literally. And I'm talking about corporate world, and CEOs of companies and trucking companies instantly hang up on you or block your number and say, do not call back.
Welcome to my world. African American. Hello? Hello?
It's horrible. You would not think that would happen. I don't think, I think that the level where we're at today, I really, in my mind, I don't look at things that way. I don't look at the color of someone's skin. I don't care what you do. As long as you're not out here like killing some, I don't know. I don't care what you do. Our life is hard enough than to pick each other apart. I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, Bobby, don't say that. You have told me that you wanted to go to somebody's houses and just tase them right there and drop them down.
Now, tasing someone is not that bad. Back in the day, and let me explain this. So, back in the day, Mona knows what I'm talking about. She'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Back in the day, when a queen would run her mouth, we didn't run back and forth on Facebook trying to act better than others. I would roll up to where you worked at and tase your ass, or like we would have it out in the driveway, and that was it.
Right, because you didn't have Facebook back in the day. That's how you handled things. You rolled.
You crushed up glass
I would
and put
show
in
up
their
on
powder.
your doorstep or the bar that you performed at.
Came from?
Yes.
Okay.
You crushed up glass and put it in their powder. That was another big.
That was a thing. Yes,
that was a thing.
Oh my God, you guys were ruthless.
That was bad. They used to do that. Because as soon as you put powder in their face, they just start pouring.
I didn't do anything bad to people. You know what? I remember back in the day, Amanda Love. Do you remember Amanda Love?
Mm-hmm.
From Parkersburg. Me and Amanda would get in the car, and somebody had a problem. We would go watch their show, walk up to give them a tip, and she would tase them, let them drop to the ground.
Could
And we
you
went home.
imagine?
Okay.
I mean, I'm not
Oh
saying
my.
it's great, but
Hang
I'm just
on.
saying that
Too
like
funny.
it was way more effective than the trash talk.
They had a shocking performance.
I'm watching the comments as we're talking, and I will
Oh.
say this: I don't know how many people is watching, but on our end it just says Facebook user. We can't see who is commenting. If you would be ever so kind to
Oh,
put
that's
your
Angel.
name,
That's my assistant.
the name before the comment, so we
I
can
can
give you
tell,
a
and she calls
shout
me
out.
the
That's
violent
Angel.
one.
She gets tased on a regular basis by
Yeah.
Mona.
Get my stuff.
That's
But
okay.
no, Bobby, you were right. Back in the day, I'm an old school queen. Back in the '90s, we used to before Facebook, before MySpace, before Twitter, before whatever X, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that.
If a queen had a problem with another queen, then they would show up wherever that was, go up and tip them to let them know that you were there, and be like, "You had all this shit to say, and you had all this smack to talk. What it is?"
Where's it at now?
Yeah. We meet in the parking lot and we
We
talk
meet
it
in the
out.
parking lot, and sometimes, I would tip them, and like, you wanna beat my ass? Come on, here's to beat my ass. Take my dollar, and I'm grabbing your hand and pulling you off stage and snatching your wig at the same time.
Or
Yep.
too funny. But I mean, things were simpler when you think about it. Like when people could talk things out, or even if they weren't talking
Well-
it out. I mean, I'm not saying resorting to that is the great thing, but like being able, I think social media gives this gateway for people
It
to
gives them
just
numbers. It gives them an audience. It gives them more people to get involved. They have no idea what the frick is going on.
Gives them a
Yeah.
huge screen
It's a
to hide
cancel
behind
culture
it, too.
society.
Well, one thing about social media, there's you can use it for the greater good. Like this here, it's great.
Right.
And I've always been one to say, fix another queen's crown without telling the world it was crooked.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
But when you got keyboard warriors out there who go under anonymous or go under other stuff and they feel big and bold,
Mhm.
we didn't grow up in that. We didn't grow up with that. The stupid crap we did, we didn't have evidence to put out to the world for everybody to see. I mean,
Right.
what we did, I'm glad we did not have social media. But my kids, it started about middle school for my boys when MySpace first came out, and it's a whole different world, and the bullying is. I wouldn't even imagine going to school nowadays with what the kids have to deal with, and it's the same thing in real life. I mean, look at all these keyboard warriors who'll get on here, and they're not even part of the trucking industry, or they're not even part of whatever group it is, but then
Right.
they've got this opinion in there, and it just, if it's only for the good, be great. But there's such a negative thing with social media as well. It's just giving people platforms to say whatever come to mind, or just to stir up whatever they could. They might not even think like that, but to get other groups against each other,
Mhm.
I'm all about no drama, no drama. I mean, I love a no drama life, but if you're gonna put your drama online, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm popping popcorn and I'm watching every season and reading the comment of every thread. And say, oh, hold on a minute, let me finish. So I want my drama, but I'll listen to your drama. But to see some people, and especially, and I don't know what it is about us women, but I watch a lot of Judge Judy, and you always have these women on there who are always fighting over this man or the winner or oh, that's the prize. And instead of being mad at the prize for having two women and leading them on, they're fighting each other. And so that
I
kind
never
of is
understood
like
that.
what it is in the world,
It is. I
Instead
never
of
understood that.
instead of us being mad at the source, we get mad at each other,
Mhm.
And so I feel like we have a long way to go as far as society. I try my part is trying to be a good person. I want, the day I die, I want people to be happy that they knew me. I want people to know
Yes.
that I was there for them when they needed it, or I was able to put a smile on their face, And I don't want, and I guess the older I get, the more I think about how I treat that person how they are left feeling when we're done with our conversation, or we're done with something that has to do with whatever we're talking about. And so I think that's a really I've had a really spiritual awakening the last couple of years. It's really done. I feel like I've grown spiritually a lot, and it has to do with me being a person that I am, you know. And so being in these groups that fight all the time, I mean, I shy away from that. Like, I don't want part of it. Now,
Right.
I'm telling you, you put it online. I'm reading it. I will tell you. I'll be there in the comment section. Might not comment, but I'll tell you what. I'll know every comment.
I think if you lead with love,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, whether you're single, it doesn't matter. Love is love, and
Love
if
is
you
love.
lead
You're
with
right.
love and you have a good heart, there's so many people that have said that I'm a horrible person or I'm a rude bitch because I will just tell you how it is. But you know what? That's me.
Mhm.
I am not. If you want the truth,
Mhm.
come sit by me.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you it,
And me.
and I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm going
Well,
to tell you how I feel, and
Yeah,
that's
it's
why
just
I've
like
always been. I've never changed that.
and that's who you are, and that's integrity right there, of being the true form that you are. You
Yeah.
know. But there's so much meanness in this world, and I just can't stand it. I guess the older I get, the more I like dogs and less people. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of
So,
it has to do with too.
I mean, even moving. Go ahead.
I think a lot of it has to do with you're saying social media is good and bad, and it is. And I think that that's why it's so easy for people to do, because everyone lives on their phones now. You can't go to McDonald's or anywhere and have a normal conversation with the cashier. They don't even know how to talk to you.
Mhm.
I mean, they can't look you in the face at all. Like this generation coming up. So I guarantee you, the majority of these people that post stuff online, they would never say it in public.
Yeah.
They wouldn't.
Well, I
I
think it has
think
to
it's
do with the
you.
respect for others.
Yeah.
There's like a respect issue. Like I just had this situation happen at a truck stop in Florida. So I'll talk about it really fast because I just thought it was, people are so quick to tell another person's business.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know these people. So I was walking through the truck stop, coming through, go use the bathroom, and then I was going to grab a couple drinks and go back to my truck. And I'm walking through about 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 days ago, and there is a girl screaming at the cashier, and she's the attendant that cleans the showers and all that type of stuff. And she wasn't doing right, whatever. It's not right to scream in front of and all that. But at the same time, she was like, "You're always trying to get me fired. You're always trying to get me in trouble. You're the only person ever So they kind of were having it out. Whatever, that's fine. In the heat of the moment, things happen. They're talking something out. Whatever. I walked in on it. The problem I had with it is the fact that after the girl left, the attendant that was the cashier literally called in all of the other employees just to discuss this girl's life. Well, I can't help it that she gets and she works for her check and she works for her food stamps and she has to have this job, but she shouldn't come from. It was this whole. I mean, and I'm obviously they were, I won't say friends, but they've been work friends to be able to discuss for her to know her life. You know what I'm saying? And going back to the whole thing of stopping and attacking each other, it's hard enough. Life is hard enough. Whether you're a driver, no matter what your journey is, life is hard enough. Single mom, so sitting there and attacking each other and broadcasting everybody's business doesn't always. You have to think about what it does for women. Like if you're a woman and you're sitting there broadcasting and tearing down every other woman because they're not as good as you or they're not doing. What does that do?
I think when you bring up what have we seen as an accomplishment, at least in my lifetime, I don't think I've seen it yet, because the one thing I want to see is that I'm still waiting to see is that power in numbers with women, because I feel like we are still stuck in this position of, in order to be in a powerful position, we have to be bitchy, or we have to be a bitch, or we have to be or we're just considered a bitch.
Right.
And I think that when we start tilting each other's crown, fixing each other's crowns, banding together, we're going to see so many more positive things happening for women as a whole and for the other
And the
communities.
LGS,
as well.
exactly right.
Yeah, instead of just having to, we're just fighting so hard because we're fighting alone. We're fighting for
Yeah.
ourselves, but we're fighting so hard because we're just fighting for us. We need to fight for women as a whole, as a group, fight for
And
other communities as a whole, as a group.
Mhm.
And as I can't see my screen, Nicole was saying, like, link those communities together. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm everybody's friend. We should be everybody's friend.
Mhm.
Why do we think that just to get our voices heard and to be in powerful positions, we have to be so nasty to other people?
Right.
You know, we
Very-
don't.
No.
Get more flies with honey.
Someone's
Right.
Yeah,
asking
I
me
get
a
it,
question.
because when you're fighting like that, you're actually fighting against yourself even.
yeah,
Right.
Marge,
Yeah.
there's a comment that says, Marge, if a woman is in need of help, where can she turn?
It depends on what kind of help you need, but if you want to reach out to, if you want to talk to me directly, you can reach out to Bobby and he can send you my Facebook actual name.
Okay.
And I can send you some links.
Awesome.
And we
Thank you.
always have, we also work with 988 and a couple other organizations. So if there's anything that you do have that, you know, you want to reach out to us, we are always gladly to try to direct you in the right direction of getting help for whatever it is that you do need.
And I want to touch on what Large Marge said. Just, it's not just women fighting; it's also the gay community itself fighting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because this Bowling Green is the only town that I have lived in that I call them the LGBTQ community. LGBTQ. It is so divided. You have and clicky. I've
It's
never
everywhere, girl.
seen a community that is so divided. If you don't belong to this drag show and you belong to the other
Yep.
drag show, then you're rivals. It's just like
Yep.
Grease all over again.
Mona and I
You
were
know
just
that-
talking about that on our last podcast.
Yep.
All the infighting in the drag communities and all the infighting in the LGBTQ community as well. And it's just if we weren't working so hard to fight our
We'd accomplish so
allies
much.
and ourselves, we could probably fight some of these assholes out there that are making changes that are like significantly impacting our community.
I always say that we are the LGBTQ
Right.
community is the one that screams and hollers the most. Please, you've got to accept us, you've got to love us, and you've got to treat us with respect and equality, this and that. And we're the worst towards each other.
Yep.
We are.
We don't do any of that for our own community. It's disgusting. It really is.
Unfortunately, I feel that way as well. I really do. So on that, we are pretty much at the end, and I want to just talk to everybody really fast about anything that you would like to tell anybody before we close out. And so we'll go back around, talking to each one of you, and starting with Nicole.
Well, I always love to end any conversation, any podcast, any face-to-face by telling people, even if you feel like you are the alien in the room, walk with your head high and be proud and never give up. That's how I feel. I've been an alien in the room 100 times, baby, and I've never give
Get
up. I'm in your face. Hey, never give up.
Thank you so much. And then Mona.
Well, I always tell people to be themselves. Just be you. That's my thing. Be you. Be the peacock. Be the whatever you want to be. I tell people, be the true self of your inside. Don't care what other people think. I know it hurts. It hurts. The words hurt. It's always going to hurt. There's always going to be someone that has something to say. They're not going to like the tennis shoes that you're wearing that day, and they're going to hurt your feelings. And that's the truth. It doesn't. It's not about sexuality or anything like that, or who you identify as. It is just that people are mean. But be yourself. Be true to yourself no matter what, because we only have ourselves. We only have ourselves that we know will be true to us, and our dogs.
Right.
Because they will always be true to us. I don't know about cats, but dogs will always be true to us. And we have our show is every Thursday night. Our lives are the first and the third Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come see Large Marge and I. We're on Facebook, YouTube, you name it. We'll send it to we'll send it to you in a VHS tape if you need it. And our Pride's coming up here in Ashtabula on June 15th. I meet with the city manager this week, so I'll find out about if we can bring some trucks in for Pride on June 15th. We love you. And Marge and I are hosting the show, so come out and see us.
Hey,
And Large Marge?
reach out to me. Would love to be a part of it.
Yes, I will. Definitely.
Yay. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I am all about ownership and owning your own bullshit and owning your own kindness and owning everything about who you are and who you want to be. And so, own your stuff. If you're going to be mean to people, you can be mean, own it, admit it, live up to it. If you're going to be kind, that's much easier to own and live.
And if you're mean, be allowed to get mean back at you.
Right, exactly.
It.
So, treat people with kindness, treat people with love, allow them to treat others with love and kindness, and mind your own bullshit.
Yes.
And if you do need any sort of mental health help, you know that you can reach out to the hotline at 988. If you are looking to talk to me personally, feel free to. Sorry, Bobby, I didn't expect that, but feel free to message Bobby. We can hook you up with my real profile and my information.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
And Melissa?
I just want to say thank you guys for letting me be part of this Women Empowerment podcast. I've been looking forward to all day. And just sitting here with everybody, I have grass in my hair, y'all. I just had to turn out my light halfway through. Everybody else looks beautiful, but here I am. So I just want to say this group is amazing. And this group is so... I don't know if the word's complimentary towards each other, but this kind of empowerment that we have right here with these 6 individuals needs to be spread out.
I just got
So I feel like as a group, we need to not do what we're doing with just the 6 of us, but in life, whether it's on the boards you're with, if it's in the life you're with, everybody just needs to own accountability in this lifetime. And me being one thing I will say, difference between OTR, which is a very lonely lifestyle. A lot of people know what I mean. It's you and the steering wheel on the road. And the difference between that and me driving a school bus for the primary school up to high school. And I think Mona said about going to McDonald's and they don't even look you in the eye. I have kids like that every day. And it's a need, and it's a need in the community. I don't care if you're a parent, grandparent, aunt, uncle, or just a mentor. This new generation needs a lot more than what they're getting.
Yes.
And so in life, once we turn off this computer and I go get the grass out of my hair, we go and we just be a positive influence in somebody's life. It might just be your dog when you turn off the camera and, go loving on the baby. Bella's outside in the pen right now waiting for me. But I think that this world just needs more love. And you don't have to sit there and be in love with somebody to give love. I worked at a nonprofit for the last year and a half. And I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about giving, and I learned a lot about serving those members in the community that it needed. And so it helps me do what I'm doing now, but it also helps me being part of a great organization like I am on this one and other things. And I know Nicole has an amazing organization, and I can't wait to watch y'all's show. So don't shoot me for not watching your show yet, but I'm going to have to tune in. So, ladies.
Get some popcorn, y'all.
Oh, I'm going to be popping me some popcorn, girl. But it's just amazing to be part of this group, and I look forward to the next time that I can meet up with you guys. But I don't think it needs to end as soon as we turn off the cameras today.
No, amen.
And Jasmine?
Well, I hosted a podcast a few weeks ago with Jordan Davis. She is a transgender off of TikTok. She's became TikTok famous here lately. And she's called all of her people Transformers. Because that is what we are. We are transforming from one to the next. So I want to encourage all my other
do not know what happened.
Did he freeze?
She froze up.
I think we lost them. Are you also there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yep.
All right, I think that we lost Jasmine, but
She's
All
still
right,
talking
well-
too. She in her house. She's just like blah blah blah. blah.
it's gonna come
Tell
up to
it.
me, and so I just want to say thank you, everybody, very, very much. It's an amazing thing that you guys were able to attend, and I just wanted to open those chat lines and see and show others that you can talk about things, even if it is a little weird, sticky, whatever you want to call it, and you can open those lines of conversation and be able to talk about it. That's so important. Even if it does offend somebody, even if it doesn't, whatever, at the end of the day, if you don't talk about it, nobody ever knows. And so for us to make a difference, in women's lives and men's lives, LGBTQ, it doesn't matter how you identify or anything. And believe it or not, I mean, whether people think so or not, straight people have it just as hard as we do. Just because we're LGBTQ, we have a lot of obstacles and different things that happens. But I'm telling you that when people do act out, they act out of their own anger, and it means that there is things there or problems that they do have, and they themselves are withholding it in. And 9 times out of 10, I'm the person that always wants to friend them. Like, I want to friend the people that hates the gay guy, because they're going to learn with me that I'm way more than just that. And so that's really why I was just like, I kept seeing all these things happen during the month, and I'm like, this is Women's History Month. This is like when women should be banding together, and I mean, you should band together 24/7, but you should be banding together and not attacking each other during, like, this is just crazy. So when I seen it happening, I was like, we need to talk about it a little bit. We need to talk about it and just start talking about these open discussions. And I don't know if, maybe 70 people watches it today, or 100 after it hits the podcast, or after it hits the, one of the all the other channels. But at the same time, all it takes is one person. If we can change one person's mind and help one person with a podcast and open their mind, then we have done our job.
Yeah.
So
think about that at the end of the day. And I thank you all so very much for being here and taking the time out of your day. I love you all, and I look forward for us all working together. And now you guys know other people, and now you have more networks to branch out with. And, if you haven't seen Melissa's book, it's actually pretty awesome. And she's been working really hard to do that. And if you haven't been over to AAWTA, go and check them out. And if you haven't seen Mona and Large Marge, then you're totally missing something that's hilarious. And so just do it. Do yourself a favor that you owe to yourself, and just go out there and check everyone out and inspire each other. Don't attack each other. So I love you all. I will see you all soon.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.